Okay, lovely, fantastic. So, hello, friends, and welcome to Diversifying Your Income. I'm gonna pin myself so you can see me. There we go. So I am Coach Chef Kimberly Houston. There's someone else here. We're gonna admit her, and this is a continuation of a conversation that was started a couple of weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, I did this presentation at IBIE, and there were so many people in the room. It wasn't just standing room. It was like people on the floor and people under tables, and it was a whole thing. And I was like, oh, wait, maybe this is a conversation we need to take online since we were offline. And so even though I totally redid my PowerPoint, I lost it because I didn't save it. So you're going to see the same presentation that I presented 2 weeks ago. It still says IBIE. It's fine. I promise. If you are not a baker and you are watching this, it's fine. I promise. Everything still applies regardless to what your career is. Now, I put the workbook in the chat. Depending on how you all flow tonight will determine whether or not we like do this workbook live. I'm open to either one, right? So if you have questions, please ask me your question. Like I love a good hot seat moment. I think well on my feet. So if you're like, hey, tomorrow is the start of Q1, no, Q4, because it is October 1st, and you're like, hey, I need to make some money. We can develop a whole plan tonight, okay? This is not cute. This is not fluff. This is let's put a plan together and get these things going. So you can come off mute at any point and ask me a question. I do not get offended by things like that. Now, there were other people running my technology previously. So we're gonna do our best with this. Whoa. Did anything just change for y'all? Or do I look the same?
Look the same.
Okay, cool. So y'all can, I told you technology, y'all can't see what's happening over here on my computer. Great, lovely. All right, so we're going to question, will you still be sitting out? Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can, so when this is over, I'm going to upload the recording into the Thinkific portal. And so you'll have access to the recording plus the workbook and anything else I think of throughout Q4. This will be ongoing. Tonight's not the only night. So you'll be able to see all of those things throughout Q4, and be able to ask me questions and keep that conversation going. So yes, you will still have access to all of that after this is over. Um, okay. I would like to present, let's see, we're going to share our screen. We're going to share that screen. Do you see the girl in the purple? Lovely. Okay, we're on the right page. I love that for us. And we're gonna play this. Okay, you guys still see that? Because now I got two screens going. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Perfect. All right, so this is 10 plus simple ways to diversify your revenue. Do not get overwhelmed with all the information, okay? Because your workbook, as well as what we do at the end, will only bring you down to two. So don't get too caught up in all the things. Um, So this is kind of the agenda of how we will run through things tonight. I'll give you a welcome, a reality check, the power diversification. All of these things are in your workbook. The 10 revenue streams for bakers, quick start tips, decision framework. That's what I really want you to focus on tonight is a decision framework, choosing what fits, and then the from idea to implementation. I feel like that's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time tonight. So if I talk too fast to get to that point, tell me to slow down. I won't be offended. All right, so this is me. Kimberly, pastry chef, educator, strategist. I built a whole lot of businesses, a whole lot of masterminds, and just realized that yesterday was 5 years since starting my food photography business. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Which also means that it's been 5 years since I closed my bakery. So, that was kind of like my plan B that ended up becoming my plan A. And so it's been a fun ride. in doing that, and I've loved everything about it. This is just the resume. If you're on my email list, you already know all the things I do. So there we go. That's all the things. That's actually not all the things that I do, but that's a lot of the things that I have done. All right, we'll put that like that. Okay, so let's talk about a reality check. And this isn't just for bakeries. I feel like this is for any industry in America right now. Everybody has supply chain uncertainty. I think I saw some blurb earlier today that said we're going to have more tariffs. Like, it's going to be crazy. The Canadian postal workers are on strike. So Etsy sent out an email that said if you ordered something from Canada, they on strike. We don't know what to tell you. They on strike, right? Like this is a real thing happening right now. There are slim margins with fragile profits. Every single membership or subscription that we have is going up by the end of November. And I was like, what is this? From Amazon Prime went up this year. All of the streaming services went up. And I was like, what's happening? We've also been watching our groceries for the last year and they have skyrocketed. We are spending about $2,000 a month on groceries right now and buying the same thing we bought a year ago that only cost us $900. Everything costs more money. I am not a person who believes that you are going to budget your way into wealth. I don't think that's real. The reality is that everybody needs to make more money, period. That's the only way we're going to survive this. So, when you're thinking about your competition, if you're in the baking industry, it may be grocery chains, online bakeries, DIY kits. If you're not within that industry, just kind of think about like who are the other people that offer the same service as you, and that's your competition. I'm not a person who thinks that you should base your pricing off your competition because who did they base theirs off of? And then it just becomes this like very, very watered down, everybody base their prices off the other people in their area. But that doesn't mean that those prices were actually based on something real, right? So when you're thinking about pricing, um, this we'll kind of dig into this just a little bit more. Hi, Wanda, welcome in. We will dig into this a little bit more as we move into like picking your one and your two. So focus on throughout the rest of the year because there are going to be some things that you can do that have very, very low margin of entry, like a Zoom call and charge people for it, right? Like you pay your $14 for Zoom and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've seen it happen. So we'll get into those things. And if you have questions as we're going, definitely write them down. Definitely come off mute and ask me if it's something you want to hold on to. My keyboard has decided she doesn't work anymore. Okay, hold on. Let's change the page. There we go. All right, so here's why you should diversify. One stream of income is unpredictable. When I was injured in 2020 and they told me to close my business effective immediately, I had a second stream of income. I already had started food photography. I started food photography in October, and that happened in November. And the reason I started food photography is because I was getting divorced, not because there was something wrong with my business. And I wanted to bring it. I'm like, this was a two-parent household for the last decade. I need to have a second income in here. So that was why I started the food photography business. And then it ended up being everything and all things. So there's high risk during disruptions, like right now. It's dependent on foot traffic if you have a retail store. It's a little bit harder to scale. Now, multiple streams of income, predictable cash flow. One of the things that I think about with multiple streams of income, if you do it properly, you can estimate how much money is going to come in. Like it doesn't have to be oh, I created this ebook and it only sells once or twice. There are ways that you can ensure that you are repeatedly making money, and so you have predictable cash flow. It allows you to be resilient in tough seasons. There's always opportunity for new customers and markets, and then you have scalable opportunities. So let's talk about how we're going to diversify your revenue. This is going to take you through multiple things. Your workbook Wanda, I have to put the workbook back in there in a second. I'll put the workbook back up. You can come in. Thank you. I had to get some water. Sorry. We always have a giant cup of water. Okay. So in the workbook, it's gonna go over like all the different things that you can be doing for diversification, and you're gonna pick your one and two from these. Okay. So products could be mixes, packaged goods, merchandise, t-shirts, hats, aprons, baseball caps, freaky little, what's those little thing called? The little, oh my goodness, they're little monsters. Labubu or something like that. It's completely taken off. It's a whole fad. It's a whole thing. I saw them in the airport when I left Vegas, and I was like, that's crazy. Whatever the thing is, there's a community of people who want it. Experiences. Hear me and hear me well. Experiences are coming back. Experiences are coming back. Beyonce did not have record-breaking concert ticket goers just for the heck of it. Like experiences are coming back. It is a thing that's going to happen. Nivea, thank you for saying something in the chat because I couldn't find it on my screen and now it's back up on my screen. Um, so experiences are coming back. Like, please don't feel like, oh, we had a pandemic, people don't go out anymore. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And they're going to continue to do that. So if you follow Gary Vee at all, um, even though I've been saying this for 6 months, Gary Vee is now honing in on this. And he's like, people are going to be paying for experiences. People want to pay to be near other people, right? So the whole building of community is going to be big classes, workshops, tours, tasting events, anything you could think of, people want it. Partnerships, wholesale collaborations, corporate gifting. When we get to this part, I'll even tell y'all what I have going on today. Like an hour before this, a new partnership kind of landed in my inbox, and I was like, yes. But it's things that people will be like, how did you do that? It's a whole thing. Christmas will be fun. Christmas will be fun. Digital ebooks, memberships, online courses, and then seasonal specialty things. This partnership that I have going on is seasonal and specialty, but also a digital and physical product with another company. So there could be subscription boxes, DIY kits, holiday offerings. And I'm like really gonna take y'all through what I'm getting ready to do because I kind of combined all of those things for the holidays. So if you want to do a product, branded mixes, sausage, jams. Um, that's baking wise, like if you're not in the baking industry, there are other products you can be offering, whatever the people in your community like. So, about 3 weeks ago, one of my good friends passed away, and my first thought was, who gets her pen collection? Because it's insane, right? Like, yes, in the sadness of all the things, I was like, bro, who is getting those pens? Because she turned me on to, like, thank you, Kyle. She turned me on to, it's not just a gel pen. Like, there's weights and there's a certain amount coming in. I had no idea. I had no idea that this was a whole thing. There's a whole community of people who are like, there's a pen talk. What do you mean? People just make videos about pins on TikTok. Pin talk is a thing, just like book talk is a thing, right? So, what is something you can create for your community that they're going to buy? I love pins, and I'll honestly, probably 90% of the pins in my office came from her. And that made me like super sad. And every time I pick up a pin, I'm like, oh my God. But it was one of those things that she really, really loved that she got to share with me, right? So think about those type of things. My daughter is super into LPS, Littlest Pet Shop, and I just spent an atrocious amount of money on more of them because there were new ones released outside of the US. And so I had to pay all that shipping to get them, right? What can you offer that? So me as a parent buying all this stuff, it could be that you've created some sort of like holding place for these. Is there a way for them to be able to display it, right? What can you create? That's a product. You can do bakery merch, totes, mugs, t-shirts. People love it. I think my shirt today says feeling. I saw you had a kid behind you, Kyle, so I'm not gonna say that out loud, but I don't give a today. That's not true, but all of my shirts say something. At one point during the pandemic, I was paying for a t-shirt subscription that just gave me funny sayings on my shirt. My kids had a sock one. They just wanted funny socks, right? Like, think outside of the box. And these are not things you necessarily have to do. You can use Printify, you can use Printful. There are ways for you to drop ship these things where you are not having to do it. Okay, cool. Oh, okay, got it, Kyle. So then there's other things like prepackaged goods. So even if your prepackaged signature good isn't necessarily like something that you're baking and you're going to shrink wrap it, this could also be something that you purchase on like Alibaba. I need y'all to know and understand that if you want your own like custom line of kitchen utensils, you can do that. The same way that all the Food Network people have it, you too can do that. And you can do that on a thing like Alibaba. Now, what do the tariffs look like when they get to the US? Don't know. However, if that's something you want to do, it might be worth the cost. Experiences. Okay, let's talk about experiences. So, hands-on classes, that could be bread making, it could be cookie decorating. If you're not offering kids workshops, my question I ask at IBIE and I'm gonna ask everybody is why not? Why are you not offering children's classes? Parents pay a lot of money to not spend time with their kids. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Parents will spend a lot of money not to spend time with their children. So offer classes for that, right? Like this is just an area of opportunity for you, offer these classes. The other thing that you can be doing on this is offer family friendly classes where parents and kids are together, right? Where we're all in here doing these things together. But I'm telling you from my experience, parents will pay you a lot of money if you take their kids off their hands for a couple of hours. All right. One of the it's listen, I I have always been the kid chef, right? Like I have taught kids in the kitchen for over a decade. And people are like, you're just so good with kids. You would be too if you understood how much money parents pay me. To the point I got a degree in education so that I could be the best of the best, so I could charge what I charge, right? And that even goes true for my online academy. I mean, the parents are still there with their kids, but we on Zoom. But them kids still messing up your kitchen, and you're paying me to teach them for an hour or 2 hours, right? Even though those kids, I don't have to clean up anything. The kids can ask me all the questions they want, but the parents still have that peace of mind that they don't have to deal with their kids. And so it's an opportunity for you to be like, oh, well, what do kids need to know? What do you do that you do really, really well that you can now teach it to a kid? If you don't think you can take like financial literacy, let's just say that. So let's say you are really, really great at teaching financial literacy to adults, and you're like, well, how do I teach that to kids? Number one, I want you to Google age appropriate behaviors for children K through 12. And then I want you to look at that list. And when you land on the kids that you can handle, once you see what's developmentally appropriate, now we have found our target audience. Okay. This is how we do this. Find your target audience. Can you handle a smart mouth 5-year old? Can you handle a smart mouth 13-year old? I can handle both. I don't really care, right? Like it doesn't bother me. Figure out what's developmentally appropriate. Teenagers are a little, eh, okay. 8 to 12 is real cute. That's a sweet spot. They know just enough. You don't have to potty train them. Like there's not going to be really accidents. They have agency. They can tell you what they need. That's a really sweet spot, 8 to 12. If it's an advanced class, go 13 up, right? And treat them like adults. They like that. But then if you're like, well, is this going to be too difficult? Take whatever you want to teach, put it in Chat GPT, and tell it to present it to you on whatever grade level those kids are. And honestly, I would go down a grade level just because teacher talk is full of teachers talking about these kids don't know nothing. So go down a grade level as opposed to what we think they should know, right? And then ChatGPT is going to create this for you. Now you got a lesson plan. Like now you got a lesson plan, and now you can try this out, right? So classes are definitely one of those things. Behind the scenes tours, if you own a shop, you can take kids on behind the scenes tours. You can take adults on behind the scenes tours. And then tasting flights or theme nights. This is more for adults. So let's say you're like, I'm not really into the kid thing, but I want to do some fun adult things. Adults are always, always looking for things to do. Here's how I can prove this. If you have planned a trip recently and you stayed at an Airbnb, they also will now link you to events happening in the area. Because even though I might be on vacation, I might be by myself, might be with my friends, but there is something to do everywhere. And so when you think about how travel sites are now linking people out to other classes, like if we were to go to Paris, you can book a photographer to take your photos in front of the Eiffel Tower. Like that's just a thing that's going to automatically happen when you book this flight, right? So understanding that these partnerships and collaborations, these things aren't new. Like this is real and you should be taking advantage of it. So what can you be offering in your area where this is something you can do? One of the things that I realized for us is I live in Fayetteville, Georgia. I don't live in the city of Atlanta. I am an hour from Atlanta. But would you like to know what's going to happen in Fayetteville, Georgia? FIFA. FIFA World Cup. The stadium is being built 15 minutes from my house. Please know and understand. It's going to be mad crowded out here. They are expanding the roads. They have cut down we can see it coming. I will 100% be positioned when FIFA arrives to be something to do in the area because we can see it coming, right? So if you see growth or expansion in your area, you need to be looking at these city council meetings like what's coming? What's happening? They're making this stuff happen for a reason, right? So take a look at those type of things in your area, like, oh, let me get ahead of that and be preparing for it now. So do we have any questions at this point? Yes, no, yes, no. I don't see anything in the chat.
I have
Okay.
a quick
Yeah,
question.
shoot.
So when you were mentioning the kid workshops, are you saying that you would go in their home or you would say like rent out space?
I would rent out space
Okay.
unless it's a party. So, there are I'm thinking like when my kids were in scouts, right? Like I did, okay, so I used to do in-home birthday parties for kids, like cupcake decorating birthday parties. And so that means this parent has rented me as the entertainment. Well, that's a whole different price than a workshop. First of all, you charge way more money at a party because now you are entertainment, not just education, right? So if I'm coming to your house, there's a travel fee that I'm coming to your house. That's number one. A travel fee to your house and back to my house. There's a travel fee in there. I'm bringing the majority of the stuff if this is a party. The kids are gonna do their thing. They got an hour, 2 hours, however long it is. We gonna say happy birthday and we're gonna move on, right? If this is, say, scouts, we did several scouting things where one of the moms was hosting at her house. Maybe they had a very large basement or something. And then the speaker came in and did a full educational seminar for the kids, and we were at somebody's house. Other
Hmm.
times I have done we've rented out rec rooms. We've partnered with the Boys and Girls Club, with YMCA. Where else have I done this? Community centers, churches, even, and at one point, oh my God, the education rooms at Joanne and Michael's. I was there a lot. I was there, like it was a time. And Michael's might still let you rent out their rooms. I'm not sure. I saw when we were in there a couple of weeks ago, they like have birthday parties in there now. But like there's lots of places that you can be renting out space. If there is a uh business near you, perhaps it's a bakery, and I don't care what you do. Okay, just follow this one. If it's a bakery that closes at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon because they're open at 4 a.m., that means that building is sitting there all day long. You could approach the owner and say, how much would you rent this space out to me in the evening? The owner doesn't necessarily have to be there. They need to have one person on their team who was there who can open the door, make sure y'all don't tear nothing up, and then lock it back up. Right? So you may be able to like work that out with people because a lot of bakery owners don't even think about that. Like that space is just sitting there and you can rent it out. You can also do co-working spaces. And like a friend of mine has a media center. So like they've got podcast rooms, they've got a audio book recording space, a photography studio. Um, I feel like there's one more studio I'm missing on that. And then they got this whole part that you can rent out for graduations or birthday parties or weddings or like whatever. You can find a place to host your event. So I would say if you're like, this stuff costs too much, think outside the box and be like, okay, well, like who else is like doing co-working spaces, and see what you come up with. Because honestly, hotels are very expensive. And I can't remember the last time outside of a very, very large event that I was at a hotel in a room, like in a room that they like, we used to do that pre-pandemic. I don't think you have to do that anymore. I think you can find plenty of other places to do it. Clubhouses. Clubhouses are another great place. We stayed in a luxury apartment 2 years ago, and for those who live there, it was free to rent it out. But if you see like a brand new apartment complex go up, go ask them how much would it be to rent out their space. Churches, family life centers. That's another good one. That's another good one, especially if you're offering something for parents and kids, or like say it's for the adults, but you want to offer on-site childcare. That is a fantastic place to do that because then the rooms are already set up for kids and you don't have to come in with your own stuff to do it. I've done events where we intentionally rented out space where there was kids space already set up, even though the event was for adults. So think about things like that. Um, some of the Marriott hotels, and probably all of them at this point, during the pandemic, there was kind of like this shift in boutique hotels popping up, right? So it could be they bought another hotel and now it's a Marriott property or it's a Hilton property. See what type of special things they have. One of the things that I realized last year is that the Marriott that's in Fayetteville, that was like right across from where they were shooting all the Marvel studios before Marvel up and went to Germany. It's movie themed, but they have a teaching kitchen. So if I'm teaching kids classes, I can literally just go rent the space at the hotel and teach a kid's class in a kitchen that's already set up for that. So now I don't have to move tables. I don't have to do anything. I'm literally walking into a space already set up with the intention of us doing classes for children or classes for adults that are maybe cooking themed, right? So look at boutique hotels near you, look at Airbnbs um near you that may work. Those could also work as things, but make sure you read the fine print. Don't be like Darius Cooks and be in these people's houses and then the people get mad. Like just kind of pay attention to what they allow in those different places. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
For sure. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, partnerships. You can do wholesale things to coffee shops, schools, probably a private school, not really public, or local markets. If you are not doing things for um, markets, winter markets, Thanksgiving markets, fall festivals, etc. Excuse me, etc. Those are things you probably want to look into. I just saw something on Instagram that there's some kind of Halloween festival happening somewhere, and I sent it to my kids, and I was like, "We going?" They were like, "Yeah." And I know we're gonna spend money. Like that's the whole point of going to the market is so that I can be with the makers and I can buy directly from a maker, right? So those are great places for you to do that. Corporate gifting programs. I made so much money doing corporate gifting boxes, holiday boxes, staff appreciation. That during Q4 was the only thing I did. I didn't do anything else. I didn't do anything else. Between Target and the Arthur Blank Foundation, I didn't have to do anything else. They kept me on my P's and Q's with all the things. If there is a hospital near you, the pharmaceutical companies that go in those hospitals, you need to know who those people are. They also will buy gift boxes, and so will real estate agents. They will also buy gift boxes to be able to give to their clients. So, and they have budgets for those. I didn't know that, but they have budgets for those. So I would say look on LinkedIn for people who may be near you. Send them your website. Tell them these are things that you're offering, like cold DM them. It's okay. You might not get anything, but they're going to remember that. And then cross promote with breweries, bookstores, and florists. The example I gave at IBIE for bookstores is Elf on the Shelf. So the elf is on the way back, and all these parents need a way to make it do what it needs to do. You can connect with the bookstore, and you can do that. You can make it happen. You can see what bookstores have, like what book are they reading right now? Do y'all need some treats to go with that, right? Like, is there an add-on package that bookstore would be willing to literally just add it on to the cost of the ticket? Like, it doesn't cost the bookstore anything to bring you in as a partner if on something they're already doing. It just makes them look better, right? So let's talk about partnerships in, let me go to seasonal and then, no, I'm gonna come back to digital. Okay, so seasonal subscription boxes, DIY kits, limited time collaborations. So let me tell y'all about a collaboration that's about to happen. So this summer, I went to um, ROI, the Millionaire Summit. This is a conference put on by Rachel Rogers. And one of the speakers, here it is. One of the speakers, his name is Justin Moore. This is Justin's book. This is the only book that was inside of our gift bag. Justin did not have a speaker fee. He said, I just want you to get my book out to everybody at your event. I'm like, child, you are crazy. You should have gotten a paycheck and put your book in there, but it's fine. So Justin gives everybody this book, and then he has a class where he's talking about sponsorships and how you get your thing to do the thing. So I'm the person who, if I got a question, I'm gonna ask the question because if you're an expert in this, I want you to tell me what to do. So I raise my hand and I say, hey, Justin, listen. I wrote a children's book and it's in the final editing process. It's going to be out in July. It came out literally like 15 days after we were there. I was like, it's coming out in July and I want to have a really, really great Q4 with it. So he's like, explain the book to me. So I told him it was a 200-page curriculum called Teach Me How to Bake Volume 2 for ages 8 through 12. It's a book that teaches kids how to bake. He says, lovely. Who's your favorite appliance store? Is it KitchenAid? I said, no, actually, it's not. It's Nutrimil Bosch. They just have something that works better for kids. So he says, great, here's what you're going to do. And this man gives me a full plan. Okay. He gives me a full plan in the room. He says, I want you to go. He was like, you got the cover of the book? I'm like, of course. He's like, go put on the front of that book, Nutrimil and Bosch, go put them on the front. Put it at the bottom that it says that this book is presented by these people. I was like, okay, cool. No problem. He was like, they got to see it. Like, you can't just email them and be like, hey, I want y'all to work with me. He was like, you have to make these people see it. So I did. 3 hours ago, they were like, Kimberly, we would love to carry your book. What's the wholesale pricing of the book? I need you to send us a link. We need to know what the minimum order is to get these books. And they're going to now package my book with their mixer, and that's going to go out as a holiday thing. Come again? You're going to do what? And then they were like, and whatever else you would like to do throughout Q4, let us know. He told me I had until October 1st to send this to them. Today is the 30th of September. I have never gotten an email reply back so fast. They were like, no, 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 this is great. Yeah, let's do it. Because what does it cost them to do this? Think about the marketing that they're going to be able to put behind my book that I would not have been able to put behind my book. I don't have their marketing budget. But now this company is going to say they promote this book, which means my book sales go up, right? So, boom. This is the whole thinking outside of the box when it comes to doing something wholesale. Now, if we want to talk dollars and cents, one of the things that I learned from the first three books that I published was to not publish them on Amazon. So this book was not published through Amazon. This book was published through Ingram Spark. I get more money from Ingram Spark than I ever got from Amazon. So even if they order cases of books for them to turn around and sell it at the regular retail price, I'm still making more money at a wholesale price than I would have if my book was on Amazon, right? So, and now this is guaranteed. I get my money up front because I'm gonna get my money when they buy these books wholesale, and then they have to push the product in order for it to make sense for them. But that doesn't fall on me, right? So if you're like, well, how the heck do I do that? You're gonna need to get this book, okay? Sponsor magnet. And I am not sponsored in this. It just worked. It worked. Who knew? Right? His name is Justin Moore. But it's a fantastic book. It's a fantastic book. So if you're thinking about sponsorships and collaborations and things of the sort, get that one. Okay, we're gonna backtrack and go back to digital. So for digital things, um, this goes across the line. So, ebooks, cookbooks, guides, repurposed recipes you already use. If you've been in my ecosystem, you know I sell recipes. I sell recipes. Guess what? There's no copyright on them. Don't matter. All you gotta do is change one ingredient, the recipe is different. The recipe is different. If it called for 1 teaspoon of vanilla, add two. Boom, whole new recipe, right? Like this is not hard. I don't care if Mima made the recipe. I promise you, she got it from somebody else. Okay, like it's not coveted. Let it go. Just make sure the recipe work, okay? When you go to sell it. If you're gonna do a like an ebook or some sort of very specific guide, it could be gluten-free, it could be kid-friendly, it could be for babies. Parents these days having to feed these kids babies. A whole book of baby food. All you gotta do is just puree some stuff. Just puree it. Take a real cute picture. Here we go. Here's the book. Parents will pay for it. Keep it short. 10 to 15 recipes. Sell the book for $15. I wouldn't go less than that. You want to know why? Because groceries cost too much and people will not take you seriously. So if you're like, you can get this 200-page recipe book for $1.99, I'm not buying that. Even though it is $1.99, I don't trust that any of those recipes are gonna work. How are you making money? That doesn't make sense, right? So even though it sounds great that yes, we make it cost close to nothing, think about the reverse psychology of it. I get what I pay for. I would much rather pay a little bit more money to know that this stuff is gonna work, right? You can sell it on your website, you can sell it through Etsy, you can sell it through Gumroad. What did I come across today? You can sell through Substack if you don't want to build out a website. If you are on Kit, you can sell things on Kit even through a free Kit account. I know Facebook is going up on their prices, not Facebook. Flowdesk is going up on their prices, so is Kit. I want to say mostly all of the email platforms are going up on their prices in November too. So if you're already going to be paying that much money, you may as well take advantage of all the things that they offer. So start an online digital store, right? You can do a recipe of the month club. Does that mean you have to make a recipe every month? No. It means you cook 12 things and then you release one a month and you send that out in an email. Put it on Substack, make people pay for it. Very easy. Very simple. Doesn't require you to do anything. Now, if you just like to cook, or if you're like, here are 12 different activities you can be doing with your children this month, or if you want to help families plan their own scavenger hunts, right? These are things people will subscribe to because, again, people are lazy, right? Okay, so you can do this with email delivery. No fancy tech is needed. You can add a video behind the scenes. People love YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, get there. I don't know how else to say this to you. Get there. If you want discoverability, If you want to be known as an expert in your industry, you must be on YouTube. It's not TikTok, it's not Instagram, and it's definitely not Facebook. That's not the priority of those platforms. YouTube is owned by Google. Google wants to be known as the place where you can get all of these subject matter experts things you need. You need to be on YouTube. For a recipe of the month club idea, you could price it low for $5 to $10, but then scale it with volume, right? Uh, I'm in something that was on school. I can't even remember what it was, but I joined, or she started at like maybe 777 a month. And then every week it kept going up. And I want to say the last time I looked, I joined at 9.99. When I looked again, it was at almost $50 and people are still joining. So I think she's getting to the point where she's like, I'm gonna just see how much money people would pay. But I'm getting the exact same thing at 9.99 that these people paying $50 are getting, right? So if you have early adopters who are following you, that's a bonus for them. That means they come in a little cheaper than other people who may find you later. Another thing that's going to be really big, and I said this, it still goes into community, is online memberships and mini courses. Um, like this class will be inside of my membership. You all just happen to be the live studio audience, but I'm very intentionally recording this to put it inside of a membership, right? So you can record it live like this. I'm not going to edit it. I'm literally just going to download the video, upload it, and put in all the things that go with it. That's it. And people will pay me to watch the replays. People still pay me to watch replays of things that I created 5 years ago. Like, this is a thing. And if you take an hour of your time, record a video, post it. That's all you gotta do. You can offer monthly things where people are checking in. Keep the text simple, Zoom plus a private Facebook group if that's what you like. I don't really do Facebook groups anymore. You could put them on school. That seems to work well because school gives you the capability to send that push notification to people whenever you make a post. You could also do that on Mighty Networks, on Circle. Um, I want to say Kajabi now has that too. But depending on what your budget is, there's a tech for it, I promise. All right, so we talked about that. Okay, so in your workbooks, there's a decision framework because I'm a person that I don't want to give you all this information and then you're like, what am I supposed to do with all this? I actually want you to do the work. So when you're thinking about how do I decide what should I launch? What do I do? The criteria is this a fast win, a high margin, a brand fit, or repeatable, right? So if it's a fast win, can I start this within 30 days? That's the question. Can I do this within 30 days? Can this be launched by Halloween? Yes or no? If the answer is no, save it. Save it for later. If the answer is yes, cool. We want to do this for Q4. A high margin. Does this generate a meaningful profit? Do not waste your time and then tell me you're gonna charge 777 for something and you only gonna sell one. That's not really worth your time, friends. Like that's not worth the time, right? It needs to make dollars and cents. So are you charging enough money that if you only sold, let's say, five, it was worth it for you? Okay. And the reason I say five, I think you can sell more than that. The reason I say five is I had someone send me email right before I got on where she was like, I had a $0 launch today. If you've never heard me say this, you didn't have a failed launch. If you launch something and no one buys it, it's just a $0 launch. The whole point is that you launched it. The whole point was not to make a whole bunch of money, right? Because most people never launch. So it was a $0 launch. Cool, no problem. What that now means is, so what are we doing tomorrow? What are you going to say about this tomorrow, right? Like, yes, on day one, no one purchased it. That's cool. It's still on sale. It's literally still on sale. So that means we now have to launch every single day until it's no longer a $0 launch day. We made $50 today. Great. No longer a $0 launch day, but tomorrow you still got to talk about it. And I recommend you do this for 90 days, all right? You only talk about this one thing for 90 days. That way people remember this is what you're talking about. Because if you only do it once, people aren't buying. People aren't going to buy it. They're not going to buy it. Think about the way Facebook, Instagram, TikTok ads show up, and you're like, what? I was just talking about this. Why is this Amazon thing showing up in here? Why are they showing me this? Because the robots are listening. And they're going to keep showing you that same ad until you click off and say, stop showing me this ad. I already bought it, or you've shown it to me too many times, all right? So you want to make sure that this is going to be worth your time. Is it a brand fit? Does this align with where you're going? Or does it look like you need money right now? Because I can spot it. I can spot a you need to pay a bill in a minute. They ain't got nothing to do with your brand. Why are you even offering this as a thing right now? All right. Does this align with your brand identity and your customer base? And then is it repeatable? Can you set up systems in your business where you can do this repeatedly without a whole lot of effort? I think that's one of the most important things. So inside of your workbook, there's like a yes, no type thing. There's a chart in there. You can do yes, no. Make sure you fill that part out because it's going to help you break some things down. So let's talk about from idea to implementation. So you're going to start with 1 to 2 things, not 10. Not 10. And one of the ways that you're going to do that, I'm going to change the screen so y'all can see this. One of the ways you're going to do that, do you all see Canva now? Do you see the workbook? Okay, cool. So you all see the workbook now. Let me scroll down. So inside of this workbook um, that I gave you guys, and I'll put it back in here in a second too. Hold on. Let's see. Your computer. Diversifying workbook. Okay, boom. Because I feel like Wanda came in after I did that. Okay, it's in the chat again. So this is going to walk you through figuring out what works for you and your customer. Like one of the things I stated in this was, does this make sense for your customers? And the reason that I asked that is here's how you can look at customer satisfaction, right? So I'm always about the customer journey. I think it is so important that you show up from start to finish for your client. I don't care if you're charging them $3 or 30,000. You should be showing up for your client, and the customer journey matters. So there's questions for you to be able to gain clarity on creating that customer journey. So we're going to define your customer experience, develop a clear understanding of what these people are getting from start to finish, right? We want to make sure that it's easy for them to give you money. So send it to your BFF, send it to your accountability partner, tell them to click the links. If they tell you it took too many steps to give you money, shorten the process. I try and make sure it's a one-click type of thing. Sometimes two, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be one unless I'm asking for a whole lot of money. There might be 2 clicks because I need to make sure that you understand when you click this again, that number might scare you a little bit, right? So I try and keep it at a 1 click for people to be able to give me money. As you're working through the list of all the different things, the products, the experiences, partnerships, digital, and then the seasonal, just brain dump all your ideas. If you're like a night owl, brain dump these things when like your brain just starts running. If you're a morning person, brain dump these things then. If you're like me and you need to be by water or a car ride, brain dump it. If you listen to today's podcast on the Kitchen Table Dreams podcast, that came after a drive. I literally pulled over while I was driving and just started typing on my phone. And I was like, nope, this is a download that needs to be a podcast episode. And so it was. So however it is you get ideas, take inspired action on them. Just write it all out. Don't judge it, just write it out. And then write down your top three, right? So we're gonna pick three. There we go. We're going to pick three and we're going to use this. So, does it work as a fast win, high margin brand fit? Is it repeatable? You're going to pick your 3 things. And then from that, did my computer just stop? There we go. She was frozen. Um, we're going to go from 3 down to 2, right? So, you pick your top 2 for Q4. And then you choose those 2. And then I want you to do the next best thing. I don't want you to come up with a 12-week plan for it. I want you to do one thing that pushes the needle. So, what is the next best thing? And it may be I need to upgrade my Canva account so that it can help me do this thing. It may be you need to have an email list so that you can sell something to people, right? Like, what's the next best thing for you to do? Define it for number one and number two. And then, how are you going to track your results? What does success look like for you? Whatever you launch, whatever you decide to take the time to do, is this something that needs to pay? Does it need to bring in like $1,000 for you a month? Does it need to bring in an extra $600 a month? Does it need to bring in $6,000 a month? Because that's going to determine how you have to show up for it, right? The more you need to make, the higher that price, the more you show up. The lower it is, you don't have to show up as much. But you do still need to talk about it, right? So this helps you not get caught in the overwhelm of, well, I don't know what to do. And what do I do next? The next best thing. Whenever you're like, what do I do next? The next best thing. Like whatever that next best thing is. If you don't know, ask ChatGPT. Don't let it give you a 27-step thing though. This is what I'm working on. This is where I am. What's the next best thing for me to do? And it will give you very simply the next best thing that you should be doing. So that's what the workbook is. We're gonna bring this back up. So in doing this, it's freedom, diversity, stability, right? Like these things just kind of roll together. That is the end of the presentation. It's the only reason I didn't throw it back into that. Um, and then, so here are your next steps. Review your checklist and your framework, right? That's inside of your workbook. You have that. Choose two streams to test out for the next 30 days. If after 30 days it's not working, reevaluate it. But you got to give it at least 30. I say give it 90. But as we move into holiday, people got money they need to burn. Okay. Um, you can look at more tools and resources if you're on the email list, which you probably are if you're on this, because I didn't talk about this anywhere else. You will see more things coming out throughout Q4. You all have that workbook, and then you can totally connect with me after this session if you would like. I would be remiss if I don't tell you that I do have a Q4 coaching opportunity. I do. She's not cheap because I'm not that type of coach. I like to let people know that up front. But there is a 16-week program, and it's 16 weeks because of the holidays. Normally it's only 90. It is 16 weeks simply because there are multiple holidays that go through here, and I feel like having a January kickstart of coaching will help a whole lot of people. So the doors of it are open. Actually, tomorrow, October 1st, is when we officially open, but is a six-figure creator. It is $5,000 for the 16 weeks. There are payment options. So if you click pay in full, then it gives you the opportunity to use Klarna or Afterpay or anything like that. And it really takes you through getting your business in order, personal and professional life, and then how do we make a plan for 2026 to really grow. I will be upfront and tell you, I don't want to work with people who are not delusional. You must be delusional to work with me. Because, like one of my clients, I was like, what do you want to do? And she was telling me, and I was like, that's not big enough. And then I was like, you know what? I feel like you're giving Professor X. Like you're giving like you should be opening a school for like little mutants. And she was like, oh my God, I thought you were gonna think I was weird if I said that. No, I need you to be delusional if you're gonna work with me. Because I have delusional expectations that like you can make $100,000 in 90 days. So if that type of stuff scares you, don't sign up for coaching with me. But if that doesn't, and you're like, that's my type of stuff, then holler at me. So that's just my little spiel on that. It's open to you if you want to do it. If not, I understand. But I am here for questions. I did that in an hour. Can't believe it. We're right on the money. But I am here for a little while. If you guys have questions, something very specific about your business, you are free to ask me at this point. And actually, I'm gonna stop recording. Hold on.